You already know. Y'all know how we coming. You know who this is. Yours truly. Your greatness.
Block Party Friday. And you know we turning up. Put up for the city and you know we know what's up. Party Friday. Every time we turning up. This right here your station, get that up and turn it up. Party Friday. Play this in the building, turn.
Some years ago, many years ago. You know, all my kids are like your ages, actually.
Right.
Right?
So, how old you is, kid?
I'm 61.
You the oldest dude in the world.
Man, that's young in there.
But in this room, yeah, you the oldest than him, man. It's young in there.
You're listening to Mighty Unique Radio.
So, Kev, man, we got another segment coming up, the great True to Me 20 coming up next after this music. We're going to go on break once again, man, but this is the great, the awesome Block Party Friday! Yeah. Well, we turn up to the max.
Yes, we don't know nothing else. Back to the music, baby.
Yeah, baby. Yeah, buddy. Yeah. Oh, man. I'm feeling great this thing tonight. Man, I don't know about you. You already know what it's hitting for. Big up to everybody out there, man. Everybody, man, you already know what it's hitting for. Man, I'm feeling great this thing. Now, we got Kev in the building. We got that boy Dean, the Lion Sheridan in the building. We got that boy Essence, man, in the building. Ain't gonna lie, man, you know yours truly, the greatness in the building, man. I'm just feeling great in this thing tonight, man. And I'm just grateful, man, to be here. I'm grateful that we was able to talk about such a great subject, mental illness in the community. You know, it's very much alive and kicking, man. So, you know, don't sleep on it. And please, man, pay close attention to yourselves, your family members, friends, relatives, whatever it may be, man, because it's everywhere, man. So, man, with that being said, we're gonna get down to the nitty gritty, man. We had True to Me 20 coming up next. She'll be here next time. Shouts out, man, to True to Me 20. Shouts out, man, to Pretty Eye Cree, man, come be here tonight. Big ups to them, man. A lot going on in the world today, man. Big ups to everybody who out there listening, man. You can catch us every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday on Highly Unique Radio, 8 to 10, man. We got a lot of great guests, man, gonna be coming through. We planning on some great things happening, man. Essence gonna bring a lot of great guests. I got my boy BT, Benjamin Theodore, gonna be bringing a lot of guests, man. I'm on my way, gonna have a meeting with him after this. Big ups to him. Big ups, man, to Kev for being in the building. Gonna bring some guests, man. We got a new member.
You're listening to
All right. So, man, big ups to that.
Yes.
You know, and big ups to Essence. Go ahead and give your boy a shout out, man. To the group that you with, man. I know you with the group.
Man, shout out to Playlist Academy, Jay Wise. Tomorrow we got a show with that legendary Rari. I'm performing tomorrow too. Shout out to Playlist Academy. All the artists is a part of it, man, and all the big things going on. Audemars Productions, everybody in New York, LA, Miami, Texas, man. Everybody that's watching, tuning in, blessings. Just tune in.
Yeah, man. Big up to Essence, man. Making a lot of big moves through here, man. Making a lot pop off, man. And keeping God first, man. That's very important.
Amen.
Very important. And big up to Dean. Dean, give him a shout. Let him know, man, how they can reach you and all the other things you're doing out here too, bro.
Yeah, absolutely. You know, the easiest way to get a hold of me is Dean Sheridan at Dean Sheridan 8, or you can hook me up at My Home Improvement Company at Gmail. Send me a note. Love to hear from you. You know, we're getting into the fall, and there's a lot of you out there that need some things done. And I mentioned the show, and you know, there's a $250 discount on any project that you know you may have, and we give free quotes, or you can reach out to me through Your Greatness. No doubt.
Yeah, give him a phone number they can reach you by, man.
You can reach out for me at 404-740-2409.
And tell them all your services.
409. Yeah, well, we specialize on, you know, the envelope of your home. So whether it be the siding, the windows, the roofs, gutters, this is the season for the gutter business because everybody's got problems. You know, you don't want to be up there falling off a ladder and having that broken leg. And you certainly don't want to be spending, you know, every year paying for this stuff. And then, of course, you know, when you let it get like that, it kind of destroys your siding on your house. I think a lot of you are seeing that. So it's important you get that water away from the house.
Facts.
And we have some special products and some special things that we do that allow you to get what you need and deserve for about half of what the other people out there are talking about, you know, the people on TV. So, you know, most of these products are patented. Most of them have been around for 20 years. And you don't have to spend $5,000 to get your house fixed, okay? You can take care of that problem sometimes for less than $1,800. You know, be done with it forever.
We're gonna talk, brother.
Well, thank you.
Right, it sounds like you got a job already.
Yeah, so, you know, that number again is 404-740-2409.
2409.
Run that number again.
404-740-2409.
2409.
24/9.
You got it.
That's my best sexy voice. That's the best.
Oh, your best sexy voice? Man, I got you beat, man. Watch this. I got it.
I guess I got weak, man. That's all I have to say.
Yeah, man, you got a weak game, man. I'm gonna have to remix your game, man.
But we love you, you know, and there's nothing like getting, you know, another eye on something, and especially if we can come out and do the
You're
free
listening
estimate,
to
it's your
Highly
choice.
Unique Radio.
For sure.
Yeah. So you do free estimates.
Yeah, absolutely, yeah.
Okay.
Or if you know what you want, just tell me what you want, and I'll, you know, and I'll give you, I can do a virtual, free estimate too. I don't even have to be out there. But of course, once I've given you the virtual estimate, because they got the eye in the sky now, to finalize that, I gotta come out there and I gotta do the actual measurements, because sometimes it'll vary within 10%, you know?
Right.
Yeah, that just can be expected. You can't see everything.
Yeah.
So when you use the eye in the sky, talking about satellite image, right?
Yes.
So I can you accurately get the picture of the roof and all that kind of stuff?
The roofs I can do very accurately, the gutter system I can do very accurately, and I can do the fences pretty accurately because you can measure the yard.
Okay.
But when you're doing stuff like windows
Mm-hmm.
and siding, it's a little bit more difficult. I can come close, but a lot of times there's inaccuracies.
Right.
One of the things that people really like in today's home improvement business is to get that quality window. Okay, and there's a lot of these companies that come out there, they're charging you $1,000 a window. I mean, that's ridiculous.
Right.
Now on the other hand, there's a lot of companies out there like Anderson, which, they make great products, but they offer their low-end products a lot of times through Home Depot. And even Home Depot's not even installing windows anymore because they've been sued so much for the
Right.
shoddy installation.
Yeah,
So-
see, that's actually at my house. It's one of the issues I have. I
Mhm.
have two large windows that have developed that glaze on the inside, that etching.
Probably a simple 2-pane that was put in.
Right, right.
Yeah, and you can get yourself we specialize in a product called MI, and they make a product that will withstand flying debris up to 80 miles an hour.
Okay.
And the reason I brought that product down from the Midwest was because of safety.
Mm.
Well, really, it was designed for people that live in tornado areas.
Right.
And so what we specialize in is offering that particular window for about the same price. You can go down to Home Depot and get maybe their middle of the road product.
Okay.
And there's no choice between the quality and the energy savings.
Man,
There's
I
none
hear
at
you. What's that number again?
all. That number's 404-740-2409.
2409.
2409, baby, that's it. 2409.
Let's hook that in, man.
Yeah,
Okay, so another thing for me is I'm a DIY kind of guy.
Mhm.
But certain things are beyond my skill set. And my best friend before he passed was a contractor. And
Okay.
I got a chance to learn with him a lot of stuff.
Mhm.
So for the folks who are out there, what he's talking about are real significant differences between A, B, and C level windows,
Oh, yeah.
for sure. So give that man a call.
Yeah.
I mean,
Sound like you ready, man.
we're not Window World, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Window World's, and you can, I mean, if you got a $20 or a $30 million home, they've got some products out there that are designed for those kind of homes.
For sure.
You don't want to put a $2,000 window on a $150,000 house. It just
Right.
don't look right.
Right.
So, but people a lot of times, especially in these days, they want a good product and they want value for the money.
Yeah,
That's what
but
we offer.
some people like to put, some real nice rims on a hoopty.
Do they do?
Hey,
Well,
Remember the fake spree wheels?
I ain't sure. I ain't sure.
Right,
Hey, I got a question though. On the real. When does a luxury car stop being a luxury car and it becomes a hoopty?
Wow. That's a good question.
That's a deep philosophical question.
I don't know.
Well, you can't get the regular tag, right?
I think when you keep washing it and the train goes discolored, it's no longer a luxury.
You can leave it over the water plant, but you can't make them drink.
No, you can't. No, you can't at all.
Rusty.
So, man, we're going to give up some Google information, man, concerning mental illness, man. We're going to let the guest man tonight, Kev, take the floor. Then we're going to go to Essence, then Dean Sheridan. Let's get it, Kev.
Okay. Also, a little bit of a disclaimer. I am not a doctor. I am reading something from my mind. So, for the clinicians out there, just understand that, all we're trying to do is just make some awareness out there for people to say, oh, maybe that applies
Right.
in a situation. All right?
Exactly.
So, one thing I looked up, it just said, what are some of the groups of mental disorders? One would be mood disorders, such as depression, bipolar, as Your Greatness was talking about,
Mm-hmm.
anxiety disorders, personality disorders, psychotic disorders, such as schizophrenia, eating disorders, and trauma-related disorders, such as PTSD. And I'm just gonna touch on PTSD a little bit.
Okay.
Having been a former military man,
Yeah, because they say a lot of people go in the military and come out shell shocked.
yeah, that's the term. But you know what? There's a lot of people come out the hood shell shocked.
On one of them.
For sure. If you as 10 years old, which witnessed, that.
Murders. I witnessed murders. People getting killed.
Right.
People getting jacked.
Right.
People walking down the street. And people that's jugging them up.
Right.
I done seen a lot, bro.
Right. So when we talk about certain environments, the environment that apparently Your Greatness grew up, I grew up. What about you, Essex?
That's in a Mexican, black Mexican, man. I know he saw a lot.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, I don't want to get there, but here's what I'm getting at. Speaking from some personal experience, and I'm sure Your Greatness probably. I'm sorry, Dean. I don't mean. You see, I just did something that ain't cool.
Well,
I assume because you was white, he ain't went through nothing.
no, indeed, he went through a lot.
That's a lie. That's messed up.
That's the people count.
That's the beat.
Right.
That's my favorite movie too.
Yeah, it is.
I watched that shit 20 times.
Yeah, that's
Well,
cool.
I appreciate you pointing that out. But
That's true.
we're all we all are a little bit prejudiced of certain things or prejudged.
You're
people,
listening
but-
to Highly Unique
I would say-
Radio.
No, I had a pretty good childhood. I would say it was stellar.
Yeah. I had a pretty good childhood. However, I lived in a really bad area. Not a it depends. So
If you
anyway,
ask my dad, he'd tell you I could find trouble. That's where I got mine.
yeah.
No, say that again.
I said if you ask my dad, he'd say I'm the kind of kid that could find trouble. That's where I got my trouble.
I can see it in your eyes.
Yeah.
Well, Dean found a lot of trouble, believe me.
Yeah.
There's a certain look in somebody who has,
Experienced some things.
yeah,
Indeed.
especially a fighter.
Right.
Dean's a fighter.
I've been telling Dean for a week.
Dean, you a pussy, man.
He told me, Dean, man, you stronger than me, man.
It's all in your mind.
Yeah.
No, I didn't tell you you were stronger than me, but that's kind of what I said. I said you are one tough son of a bitch.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
It's all because of God, though, man. I just trust in Him.
Yeah.
That's all I ever knew since I was a kid.
So, just so happened, and I don't know if this is why you picked this, I was listening to a radio show, a certain morning show, has a club in the name, so. And they happened to be speaking on this because there was a certain artist decided he's gonna cancel a tour. And how somebody went in on him for canceling the tour. And he was like, basically, you being a punk, go make that money. And it's like, yo, this dude is giving up mad cash to say, I need to take care of me. Who are you to say what I need to do with my life, right? Now, some people would say that the guy who gave up the cash is the one who suffered from PTSD, but I'm gonna say the dude who went in on him is the one who suffered from PTSD. The fact that you can't admit the fact that there's a weakness in that you might need to take a break and give your mind some time. In the same way, if you get on the bench press, I don't care who you are, you can only do so many reps before your muscles start to fail.
I'm being every day I know, man. Look at me see how big I'm getting.
Yeah, man. I need to do it myself. I'm developing breasts.
Man,
And a start, here you go. Double D's or triple C's. Your choice.
no, don't go there, dude.
Yeah, but see, when you get to the point where when you gonna project your life onto somebody else, because that's kind of what happened when dude went in on other dudes saying that you're a punk, what you doing this, that, and the third, or whatever else. See, to me, that's a man who has suffered something and has forced him way through something, but has not yet hit his own personal wall to recognize that you can't always lift that next rep. There's muscle failure and there's mental failure.
Amen.
And when you force yourself to a place that you can no longer cope with that situation, if you're wise, you put that damn weight down, but if you're a damn fool, that shit drops on your neck and you die.
And you die.
And they die.
Ooh.
Oh my goodness.
So for all the conditions out there, that was my
And
level.
I was screaming like,
Hey, man,
and then it was a pretty girl too, so I had to play it off. When I was in high school, I was trying to be tough, and the weight fell on me, and I said, you know what?
The weight fell on you for real?
Yeah, because I was trying to show off. I learned my lessons when I was young, so I don't show off no more. I just stay focused.
Hey, but you know what the real deal is? The proper way to do it is to have a spotter.
Right.
Have a
that's
partner.
what you need.
Have
man.
somebody that can help you out if you need a little help on that last rep. And so, again, if we're gonna talk about it from a mental health place, when I was talking about historically and having that lineage and all that kind of stuff, right? To bring forward a full circle on that is, if you were going through something, there was somebody you could trust in your family you should go and talk to.
Come on.
We don't have a lot of times anybody in our family we can go and talk to that's sensible.
But if I can interject here for just a minute, think about the trap you just set for a lot of people that are living it right now, okay? So, you know, your greatness mentioned earlier about a lady that he was talking to when he was younger, right?
Right.
And just imagine, you know, you're trying to express yourself, you don't know you have this mental illness, or you're having a bout with it, whatever level it is, and you're trying to confide your soul into this person, and they either don't have your best interest at heart, or they themselves are screwed up.
That's exactly my
So
point.
I you know, and they tell us all the time, and I don't know if anyone's heard this, but I've heard it 1,000 times, which is, you shouldn't talk about your problems to someone that can't help you.
Right.
So now you're inadvertently talking to somebody
Yep, because don't turn the
that you don't know that can't help you,
Mhm.
that has a worse problem or just the same problem as you do. And I think a lot of us are caught up in that,
Yes.
Right.
Yeah.
But
especially with family members.
and your point is very valid. And if I was projecting something different than what I'm actually trying to say, and what I was actually trying to get to was this. Historically, we didn't need counselors, professional, because there was someone we could trust. Where I was going with it is actually the same place as to say, the problem is, and this was an issue for me, who's gonna reach back and help? Who is going to say to a young brother or a young sister, and this is not about a race issue, I'm only speaking, you know,
Yes,
reaching back to help someone.
yeah.
Hey, what you're doing right there, there might be a better way to do that.
Yes.
See, yeah, so, but in order for somebody to listen to you, there needs to be a level of trust. So we go to therapists and this thing and that thing because we don't have people we trust.
Yep. Yep. Because people don't care how much you know until they see how much you care.
Exactly. So as we go through this journey, a part of what I'm talking about is there's a bigger issue at hand. And the bigger issue at hand is the destruction of the reliability of somebody to trust.
Mhm.
Right? So your greatness was talking about how in his previous life, he was on a pathway to be a minister in a traditional church. He was on a pathway, but somehow God would pull him to the streets, and then he would minister on the streets and was
Right.
way more effective.
Right.
Right? Because somehow, because he was authentic, somebody that's going through what they went through on the street could trust him.
Right.
But they couldn't walk up in no building somewhere and feel that level of comfort to be able to say, I don't understand, because see, I actually had that happen. I was counseling at my church, and a young man comes in, he's a gangbanger, and he's like, look, man, I'm gonna tell you like it is. I don't understand what the fuck this got to do with me. God and the devil was already beefing before I was born, so why the hell am I suffering?
Wow. That was deep.
His words, not mine.
Right.
And I looked at him, I said, brother, you talking to the right one. Because not a word you're gonna say is gonna offend me. See, a lot of so-called or righteous people would have been offended that he was cursing standing in the sanctuary. But God has heard every word that's ever been uttered.
Mhm.
It's just another word, it's language, right?
Right.
So the curse or not the curse doesn't make you righteous,
Mm-mm.
right? So anyway,
Peter cursed.
I made that point just to make an example. So then I said to him, I was like, bro, I can't answer that question for you. I don't know. But if you really want to know, ask him who did it. It's his responsibility. See, one of the biggest problems we have as Christians or people of belief or faith or whatever else is we want to make excuses for God. We want to make blame for this or that, and we want to we want to show that we're intelligent enough to answer your question. That becomes an ego trip.
Mm-hmm.
That's an ego trip.
Right? But then Jesus had to correct one of his disciples because the disciple told the tax collector, oh yeah, we're going to pay taxes. And Jesus like, what? All right, do this. Go cast the line, and when you catch that fish, I'll pay it out there. And there was a coin in the fish's mouth. But he didn't have to say that.
Well, he told Peter the cock would crow 3 times.
That's right.
And he denied him.
Right. Because the reality of it is our pride will put us in a place that will cause us to fail. And see, being PTSD.
Man, Charles done a thing. Sterilize the mic. Sterilize it.
That was dropping the ball.
And pride comes before destruction.
You're listening.
Yeah.
Pride comes before destruction.
Right. So in the end, brothers, the point I'm making is, if any man would seek him, he'll find him. That's what the word says. So wherever you start, brother or sister, if you're out there and you feel like your life is completely just whatever, and you feel like that, don't nobody understand, you're right. Don't nobody understand, because it's your life. Just like when I go through things and I deal with situations and I get kickback from family, man, what's that all about? They going through their thing. So there's only one who can answer the question about why he would do something. So ask him.
That's right. Man, guess what? Man, we got
Preach, Lord. Preach to me.
Well, you got me want to sing that one. Like,
Preach to me.
So, man, we got my boy, man, Essence coming up next. Essence, go ahead on, man. Tell him what you found, man, on Google about mental illness, man.
There you go. Let's say, I found right here, any mental illness is defined as mental behavioral or emotional disorder. AMI can vary impact ranging from no impairment to mild and moderate. Mental illness are common in the United States, and nearly 5 U.S. adults live with mental illnesses. 52.9 million in 2020. Mental illness includes many different conditions that vary a degree of severity, ranging from mild, moderate to severe. Two broad categories can be used to describe these conditions. Any mental illness and serious mental illness are all recognized as mental illness. Smaller and more severe subset of AMI. Additional information of mental illness can be found in many different people. Things like that, to me, I faced a lot of things, a lot of trauma and abuse in my life growing up as a child. So as I continue to get around, like my brother here was saying, just the right accountability, I continue to overcome from being ADHD or classified as ADHD as I was a kid, passed around, born in one state, moved away from my family. So my family started to say I had a chemical imbalance myself. So when I started meeting God, that changed everything. So
Come on.
all these things that I'm reading on here is like, yeah, it's true, it's facts, but man, that faith changed everything, you know what I'm
Yeah, it
saying?
do. It really
And
do.
it changes the whole outlook of everything, of how much these things and how the majority of us are walking around with luxury and riches, and we really smiling, but we have a mask on, you know what I'm saying?
Right.
Mm-hmm.
We just continue to shine that light of love. Anything's possible, man.
Come on, bro.
Yeah, it is, man. That was a great story, bro. Hey.
Amen.
All praise go to God, man. Alhamdulillah, like the Muslims say, man. All praise to Allah. So we got Dean Lion Sheridan. What you got for us, Dean, the Google, bro?
Well, what I learned the most was the difference between, I guess, most people's opinions about mental health and, what it really is, meaning that we all look at the analogy or listen to the analogy earlier about the broken leg. If you got a broken leg, it's different than having a ligament that may be pulled from working out. And everybody thinks a mental illness is a broken leg, and it's not.
Right.
So, I happen to feel that that's the low-hanging fruit with what's going on in society, because over the years, they used to have a lot of mental health places where people would go when they had problems, and all the states, not just Georgia, they got rid of them all.
Pretty much.
So
Yeah, they did. I don't see them no more. You're right.
like
man.
the
That's
Bellevues of the world.
That's a good one, yeah. I used to have tons of them. Everywhere you went, there was one
Yeah.
everywhere.
Well, back home is Boxing Bend. It's still there.
Okay.
But see, that's the real issue, because we're looking at these things on TV, all these broken legs, and these are people that need to be in a mental hospital, but they're just on the street.
Being exploited.
And
Right, exactly.
perhaps being exploited, but what I'm saying is the low-hanging fruit is if we in our communities understand this, then there should be red flags for these people. And if they're continuing to be let out, that's how you're gonna end up with these shootings.
Because now you can
That's
sign
a
yourself out.
Right.
You can bring them in there,
Right.
and then they can sign themselves out. So,
So recently, like in the last day or two, they're talking about in Gwinnett County, early release for certain quote unquote less violent, non-violent offenders, to include those that are in the mental health and psychiatric.
Right, they shouldn't be doing
And they
that.
shouldn't be doing that
No, they
because,
shouldn't.
but see here, the reason.
Now, a
they-
lot of them will end up in jail too.
Right, but here's the reason they do that, is because of pure housing issues. They're not prepared nor trained to deal with mental health issues.
Well, the WHO defines that, the health organization, as one of the 6 causes, I've read it today,
Okay.
is homelessness.
Yes, sir.
And there's a few others, but continue.
Yeah, so when you take someone that has a mental illness and you put them in jail or in prison, they're not conceiving the world in the same way as a normal person.
Nope.
So you're punishing someone in a way that's like totally inappropriate and may actually make the situation worse.
Well, you're
for
putting
the
them in a
victim.
group of other people as well,
For sure.
and that comes out real quick
Right.
That's what happened on Michael Myers, the movie.
between
Too much stimulation or the wrong type of stimulation for someone.
They put him in that thing and left him in there. And he
Michael Myers was crazy. Jason was
As a
crazy.
kid, he was talking. When he stopped talking, you left him in there, he became murdered.
But you know the reason why they became monsters? Because their parents was hiding them in closets and keeping them locked in the
Yeah, and that
house.
movie Split.
Okay.
That
so-
caused mental illness.
But see, here, that's the perfect analogy, is because when we hide it, and this is what I was saying even about the example with the artist, and the one that I said I think really suffering with the PTSD is the one who's more aggressive with the other guy, is because he's hiding it. And the longer you hide your hurt, the deeper that hurt goes.
Exactly.
And the
And the
more
worse it
potential that's
becomes.
going to be when it comes out.
Right.
So now you take that individual who's acting out, and police don't know what to do with it.
Mhm.
And they take him and they put him in jail. The jailers don't know what to do with him. So now these people get in there, and so then they, it becomes heavy-handed tactics.
We'll take it a step further.
The one-
We as a society are actually creating this in a way, because if you look at social media, that's the younger generation's outlet.
Mhm.
When I was growing up, and all of us here, we all had our friends outside. And whether it was football, basketball, baseball, hockey,
Right.
or running in the hood, you
There
came
was some
home.
interaction
You
with
came home
somebody.
with a bloody nose, and maybe you went to mama, but you know what? You were learning life skills.
Right, you were interacting with
And now-
Now they don't go outside.
And now,
They ain't going outside.
and now they won't go out.
And on the tablet.
And so they get in that first relationship, let's say, when they're in high school, and they get dumped by their girlfriend, and they don't know how to act.
Right.
I'm gonna tell you something I
This is
realized
the problem.
too. When you crazy, you sure can run fast, because Michael Myers always caught us when you crazy. Hey, I'm talking about you running your ass off.
Yeah, no, the real deal is they would fall, she never failed.
Just when you scared, you fall. You know what I'm saying?
You know, speaking
Wow.
of movies, there's a great movie out there with Jack Nicholson you all need to watch if you haven't seen it, and you can watch it.
Yeah.
It's One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest.
Yes, sir.
Oh, yeah, I watched
Nurse
that.
Ratchet and all that.
Yeah.
Hey, man, that movie is actually older than these cats, man.
Yeah, I saw it though. I saw it. One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest. And I'm gonna tell you right now, this is what I believe, man, because they were saying my mom had a mental illness, and I discovered she just was bipolar. You know what I'm saying? Because I seen her come and go, hot and cold, right? And I was like, hold up, man, my mama, but back in the days, they couldn't diagnose it.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So everybody like, they crazy.
Hey, you know what they used to say back in the day?
What?
I remember this.
What?
They crazy, but they know better.
Right. I remember
They ain't gonna come over here with that bullshit. Oh yeah, you think you're great? I bet you don't come over here with that.
But then now you run across people pad, and it's like the whole world is bipolar.
Yeah.
Yeah, what happened down in Midtown the other day, you know?
Right.
And I was a lady, and I was like, ooh, yeah, we out of there. So it's time to pray and get right with the Lord.
Yeah.
If you don't know Jesus, it's the time, baby. Don't play with it. Don't run from it.
Don't run from
Just learn him, because he know who you is. I'm not playing.
Jeez,
Yeah.
It's that time.
See, bro, everybody got a little bipolar, in them, bro. I'm telling you right now.
Well, you know, yeah.
Yeah.
They say there's levels of
He
that
said,
too.
There's levels of it.
What's levels of everything?
There's levels of everything. I was just about to say
You
that.
know, because you know, it's funny. Essence would say, you know, he was ADHD or whatever. I was never diagnosed with it, but I look back at it, and everybody who went to school for it say, yeah, yeah.
Yeah, I think, who wasn't ADHD? But see, the ADHD, I learned, I would read a book about it, right? Because I couldn't understand what my wife was going through when I was with her.
Okay.
God bless her soul. And she was going through a depression,
Mm-hmm.
but it ran in her family,
Mhm.
right? So she would just sit and just be down on herself. And I couldn't figure it out. I'd be like, you all right, baby, you all right? And she couldn't really explain it. So I started getting books. But I know the symptoms I seen that she had.
Right.
And I just started reading books about it. So I read one book about ADD, attention deficit disorder,
Right.
ADHD, attention deficit hyper disorder. You know what I'm saying? So I started reading books about depression and how it's hate turning inward. You know what I'm saying? So I started reading all these different books with all these different diagnoses and how to deal with it. And all I'm saying, one thing I remember, that most people who fall into these different predicaments, mindsets, dysfunctions, watch this, they fall into it because of lack of structure and order.
Order.
Yeah, that's all you need. Watch this. That's the cure. A lot of people don't even know that.
Right.
Once you organize and structure things,
Right.
you take back control because you
Right.
lost control.
This is why some people love jail.
Right.
They go back because there's structure and order, even if it's pure chaos.
That's
the
true.
Chaos is ordered.
It's organized. That's why they love jail. You right.
That's why a lot of cats-
Because girls think God's gay when they keep going back. They're really going for the order though.
And same thing with the military. You get that same kind of deal where, you know, you're told what to do, when to do it, how to dress, you know, pretty much how to behave. You have some leeway within that, but there's a real rigidness. And a lot of people, when they come out, having lived that life, even if they were a boss, it's hard for them to adjust because they were used to even telling people what to do. So now in their families, here's another, and I was guilty of this. You have experienced certain things, seen certain things, so now you're in such a protective mode that you're being overprotective to your family, and you're projecting things and images that you've seen out on the street onto your family. Like, I don't want you to ever do that. So now I'm treating you like you finna go out here and get high. I'm treating you like you out here. You know what I'm saying? Now, don't you ever do this? Don't you do this? And it's like,
They're condemning instead of edifying.
come on. And,
Well,
and you don't know any better.
When we learn how to edify instead of tear down, you'll draw people to you instead of reflect them off, because it's a process of learning how to just read people and know what you're dealing with before you speak to them, because everybody's a firecracker these days.
Well, look at the extremes. I mean, you know, back in the day when you had the hyper business, like your greatness was talking about, they said that was a young man that had too many ants in his pants, and he used to get your ass whipped.
They say give him a Ritalin.
Yeah,
That's
now
what they say,
today,
give him a
now
Ritalin,
today,
which is a Valium.
I
now
was on
today,
Ritalin when
You was
I
on
was
Valium? I mean,
I was on
you was on Ritalin.
and all
I
that
was
other
on
stuff.
Ritalin.
That's
You was
what
on
I'm
Ritalin.
talking about.
I had a son. I got a son, man. Shouts out to him, man. Treon Dean, my son. His grandma. She deceased right now. They had came to me and saying they wanted to put him on Ritalin because he didn't have ADHD. See, ADHD is you being like a locomotive. You know, you go 100 miles per hour. But ADD is you just sitting still and don't move, and like you don't have no energy to do anything. It's almost like you're depressed.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? You just don't move, you just stand to the air, and you like, you zoned out.
in your thought, deep thought,
Right,
down the
deep
long
thought.
tunnel.
And you just like, you just dip.
Over analyzing everything.
But the hyper one, you on the move doing it though.
Mm-hmm.
You're going fast as hell, nobody can stop you. But I learned, and the both of them, guess what? It's a hidden gift.
Yes, sir.
It's a gift. It's not a curse. And so watch this. When his mama
It's
came to
about
me,
proper direction.
when his mama came to me and told me they wanted to put him on Ritalin, I said, no, he gifted. Because after I had read all these books, trying to figure out the solution to everybody's situation, I realized it was a gift.
Yep.
But watch this, a gift that was out of control.
Right.
They even show that in the superhero movies. All
Yeah.
of them. All of them.
All of them are hyper and they are the ADD. And guess what? They figured out how to take that energy and use it in a positive way.
Right.
Just like me right now, what I'm doing. I'm ADHD. I'm hyper as hell.
Yeah,
I
that's
go
me
fast.
too.
You know what I'm
I mean,
saying?
that's me too. And see, one of the problems I had in school, say they said, write an essay about this. I could write that whole essay in my head in about 5 minutes, but when it came from me taking it from my head to the pen, I lose 80% of it.
Right.
So I could articulate it, but I couldn't write it.
Right. You're supposed to flow. You're a flower.
Right.
It was a freestyle.
So on the real.
Yeah, you do.
So here is where my salvation was, and it was in staying active. So my day used to be up at 6:30 in the morning, catch the bus, get to school, whatever sport was in season, that's what I did. So in junior high school, I literally played football, wrestled, basketball, ran track, and played baseball.
Right. Like Bo Jackson.
Never going home.
I just said that.
Because
tell you,
when I would go home, I would get in trouble.
Right.
Because my energy was just at such a high level. So when I got to a
They
bit of
tired you out.
yeah. So when I got to a bit of maturity, probably my 10th or 11th grade year, something changed and I became more leveled out. Right? But before that thing, but then there was another part. And there was an anger rage part of me that used to come out. And then being in sports, that was a way I could express it, especially in football. You know, you could let your rage out on the
Yeah,
field.
you could tackle somebody.
But you know the problem with that? And I'm gonna tell you, when you run into somebody real hard, it hurts.
Yeah, so you feel it when you get on.
It hurts. It hurts them, but it hurts you too.
Yeah, dude. You're using your body as a battering ram.
Again, a metaphor.
Right.
Anger will often allow you to accomplish something, but usually it comes with a cost. And you usually hurt somebody, and you end up hurting yourself too.
Absolutely. Well, man, we had a great show tonight, man. I just want to thank OCAB for coming to the building, man, and we're looking forward to them being a new member, man. This is a great show, man. I enjoyed it. I know the people out there did too, man. You know, man. And we're gonna go ahead on and play Essence next song, man. But we're gonna let y'all know what this is before Essence plays his next song. This is the great, the wonderful, the awesome, the on time, the life-saving, the superhero of the podcast game. This is Block Party Friday!
Yeah!
You already know. Y'all know how we coming. You know who this is. Yours truly. Your greatness.
Block Party Friday. And you know we turning up. Put up for the city and you know we know what's up. Party Friday. Every time we turning up. This right here, your station, get that up and turn